G'day folks, welcome to Learn to Paint TV. Rod Moore from Moore Art School with you again. Got an exciting project this week. We're going to be doing a nice panoramic view of Byron Bay Beach in northern New South Wales, one of my favourite little spots to go. And a nice view of the headland with the lighthouse up on top and some people on the beach and so on. So this is going to be a great little painting, an easy one to do. Anyone should have a go at this one. And we'll start off. Step one in the Moore method of painting, of course, is just drawing in our big shape. So I'll start off with my scruffy little flat brush. And I've got some ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson. So our first step is just to get into those big shapes, to map those out. So I'll put up on the screen a photo that we're working from. And I was down at Byron Bay just recently and took a whole lot of photos and quite like this little view of the headland there. So I'm just mixing up the blue and the red there, ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson. Just add some water into it to make it nice and liquid. So for our purposes of our drawing, we don't want thick paint. And our horizon line is going to run around about the 1/3 mark through there. So I'll just run that all the way through. Now I haven't measured that or anything, so there's no need to get too particular about it, but just run a line through around about there. And we're going to run the headland down to around about there. So it takes up pretty much the full width of the canvas or the view that I've taken the photo of. And so I'm just going to follow the line up. It sort of gradually works its way up. It flattens out at around about that point there, just past the halfway point. And then that's where the lighthouse sits. We've got a little hump there. And then it rises up sort of gently out through about there. So that's pretty simple to do. Don't worry about getting it 100% accurate. Just get it as accurate as you can. And you can see there, I didn't spend a lot of time fussing with it. I just popped it in the way I felt it looked. And then I put just a couple of little marks for the lighthouse there. And we'll come back and address that obviously a bit later. That's probably a little bit high there. So I'll just round that out a little bit, make it a bit more of a hump rather than a peak. But basically that's step one of the Moore method. Pretty simple. I mean, this is a simple little painting designed for beginners. So what I've done so far, anyone can do that, right? So let's move on to step two now and start to block in our big shape. Okay, so now I've just added up some yellow ochre and some titanium white. So I've got our three primary colors there. And we're just going to mix up a shadow tone for the headland here. I'm going to use my big flat 1-inch brush. This is a crusty old hog hair brush. So I want to just get a nice dark. So I'll use that dark we've already got. And we'll use the blue, the alizarin crimson, and a bit of the yellow ochre. I'll just mix that around. Now, but because this is off in the distance, I'm going to add white into it just to lighten it back. So it's a nice bluey grey there. So I add some white to that. You see, I've just added too much white, and it's, oh, maybe not. Let's just add a touch of the blue and the red back to it, and we'll test. So that's, it's quite a dark, but it was morning, and the sun hadn't really risen up when I took the photo, so it was quite dark along this headland here. And what we'll do, we'll just brighten it up. We'll add a bit of bit more life to it than what's maybe in the photo. Artist license, right? It's one of the advantages of being an artist, is we get to actually improve upon what we see. And wherever you have an opportunity to do that, why not take it, hey? Okay, so now with that, I'm going to just pop that brush down. We'll take a larger flat brush, and we'll get into some of this watercolour. It's going to be darker out in the horizon here. It's going to get lighter as we run into this breaking water here. So again, we'll start with the ultramarine blue. I'll take a little bit of that grey colour into it, and a little touch of the white. So I don't want it to be too happy blue, okay? That would be a mistake. If the blue was just too bright, then I don't know that that's what we want. Having said that, the water can get quite bright on a sunny day down there. A little touch of water in there. And during this blocking stage, now what we really want to do is we're just establishing the values and getting that right. So even if I put it down and I think, oh, it's not quite right, I can always come back and adjust. And I'm just going to add a little bit of a booster colour, cadmium yellow medium, because I want to get in a little bit of green in there, but I don't want it to, I'll use my yellow ochre, but just that little bit of brighter green will be helpful as well. I think that blue probably could just go a little bit redder in it. So I'll just add in a touch of the red, and that's stopped it being too bright. Okay. Now we'll take that blue and we'll just yellow it up and make it a bit green. So far everything we've done, pretty easy. You know, you can do this. There's nothing that I've done here so far that requires any special skills. So what I'm going to do is now just grab all of that white and some of that yellow ochre there. A little bit of red in there. Okay, and that is going to just be blocked into here. There, and then it'll get into that wetter sand. I'll just add some red into it just to darken it and run some of that in. Okay, it's looking good. There'll be a lot of whitewash and so on in there as well from the waves. Let's just run that up and just blend those two together a bit. And it's going to be darkest at the top here, and it's going to get lighter as it comes towards the horizon. If you are unsure about how to do a gradient sky like that, then check out my acrylic painting techniques course. Members of the Learn to Paint Club get that course as part of their membership. It explains how to do a basic gradient sky, but you get about to see me do one anyway. But that's quite blue there. Light that off. Okay, I've started that out, I think probably too blue, so I'm going to take a bit more white into that mix there, and I'm just going to run some of it up into there. And I'll come back and I'll blend it all soon, because I'm using the acrylic, the Artilia acrylic paint. I'm going to be able to squirt all that with a water bottle and blend it all in. And I'm going to add a warmer tone now into the bottom. And that warmer tone is simply going to be the red and the yellow mixed together, which will make an orange. Sort of that colour there, really. So a little bit of the red, a little bit of the yellow. Okay, I'll mix those two together. Just push it more to the orange, so a bit more yellow. Okay, and then I'll take a chunk of white, like so. Let's just try that down in here a little bit. So just rising sort of warmth from the morning sun. And will just add a bit of interest for us. Welcome back, friends. Well, I've let this dry off. Now I need to get in and do some of the detail work. So step 3 of the Moore method, our highlights, details, and finishing touches is what we're going to do now. So I've just got my base colors out, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, and yellow ochre. And I think we'll start off working in this headland. Now there's not a lot of light in here, but I will introduce some. And the photo I was taking, it was early in the morning, wasn't a lot of sunlight hitting there. But what we'll do is we'll just overemphasize it and add a little bit more than what is actually there, just to make it an interesting little section through here, and then a little lighthouse will go up in there somewhere. So let us begin. Just going to mix up a green, and we'll just go for our mid-tone, a little bit of white in there at this stage. Mix that around, touch more blue. A little touch of the red. Always add your reds into your greens just to grey it back a little bit. And I'm just going to, not everywhere, but just start to just build up some foliage here. And then we'll come back and we'll highlight some of it. And some of it we won't. So I'm just using this medium-sized flat brush for this. Just tapping it on. Now there's some rocks and things down closer there, so I'll add some rocks in there. And the important thing whenever we're doing mid-tones and highlights, of course, and I say this all the time, you're probably sick of hearing me say it, is you want to keep plenty of that shadow tone left in there. So important. Okay, that's not a bad little tone for this. I'll just start to darken it back a little bit. I want this part here to be the warmer, brighter section, and as I head further over that way, I'm going to cool it and darken it a little bit, because you've got all this light here from the morning rising sun. That's what the message I'm trying to convey there. So just a little bit more blue and red into that, and that'll just tone that back quite nicely. I can even just bring some of that into here as well. Okay. And I'll leave more and more of this shadow over here as well. Get darker again. Okay, and now I can take my white and a little bit of blue into that. A little bit too much blue. Take a bit more of the white. Okay, and I'm just going to start off here establishing in some of the water. I'll just splash it up against that rock. Now, if some of that gets a bit too much, I can push that back soon. But it basically runs all the way along the beach there like that. And then I'll just put in this bluer tone just so you can see this is going to be our sort of breaking water line through here. Like that, but I think we've got a bit more work to do in the water there somehow. Let me now, I'll just go a little bit bluer into that tone there. establish this lighthouse. So it's sitting on a base, so I'm going to need to go darker. It's quite deceptive because you look at it and you think, oh, that's a white lighthouse, right? But it's not white out of the tube. That's the really important part here, is that you don't want to just paint it white from the tube because it's in shadow mostly. Okay, I'll pop a little bit of white on the top. Okay, so now I want to come back in and start just reworking into the water here. I think we need to just build it up a little bit more. It's gone a little bit dark as well. So I just want to play around with that and get it the right tone in there. So again, I'm going to use a medium flat brush now. I think when we blocked it initially, we were using a bigger flat brush, but now we're getting to a bit more of the considered detail work here. So we'll go this medium brush. Okay, so I'm just mixing up a grey blue. So I think it's a little bit bright out in here. Let's just test that tone. I think that's going to be just a little bit more pleasing to the eye. But it definitely wants to be pushing to the green side of things. It's way too bright. Turn it back a bit. And then we can just push that up underneath that white foam. If I overdid the foam, then I can just tone it back a little in there like so. Good. Getting a bit greener through here. Nice big wave running along the beach there. And then we shall get in shadowy tone. Get a little bit of red in that as well. Too much red. Back to the blue. Okay. Add some white. So it's a bluey grey. And I'm going to use that bluey grey just in here. Just for the breaking water, the foamy water. So I'll take some of the white with a little bit of yellow ochre, just a pinhead in there, just to give it a sunlight feel. And let's just run some of that through there. Okay, now there are a number of people on the beach, which I think would be good to pop those in. It might even be nice to have a little flagpole. It's just a question of where. But in terms of people on the beach, we'll just start out with just some silhouetted shapes and just see. Now, they're going to be round about this sort of size, I suspect. Need them a little bit darker. Shadow's going to run kind of that way. Well, I won't put too many in, but there's a few there. Even though I'm just mixing up darks, you know, it's good to have a bit of a variety of darks. So I'll put a couple standing there having a smooch. And what a great place to be doing that, hey? All right, well, I think we've got there. Byron Bay, front beach, little lighthouse on the top there, people enjoying the morning, and this nice glowing sort of sunlight rising up. Plenty of paint on the hands, which means they've had a good time. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I think it's a good little painting. It's a good little seascape painting, and definitely one to learn how to get that sort of feel of, you know, morning atmosphere in a beach. So definitely have a go at this one. And I'd love to see your photos when you do. Make sure you drop by learntopaint.tv. Check out all of the episodes of Learn to Paint TV. And you can get the DVDs and the download videos now available on the learntopaint.tv website. So make sure you drop by and check us out. And we've also got a free course that you can take as well. Hope you've enjoyed this episode of Learn to Paint TV. My name is Rod Moore from Moore Art School. I look forward to seeing you next week on Learn to Paint TV. Cheers for now.